This show is brought to you by HostBaby.com, web hosting for musicians.
Here on episode 41 of Music Marketing Monday, we discuss marketing lessons from Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, you ask? Yes, Taylor Swift. Isn't she that like big pop star? Yes, she is. Well, what does she have that an independent artist can learn? Well, plenty. I'll stop having a conversation with myself and we'll get on with the episode. Here we go.
Information, inspiration, motivation for the modern musicpreneur.
Time to start your week right.
Here it comes, Music Marketing Monday, with your host, Bob Baker,
Mr. Buzz Factor,
and Billy Gryzak.
the music marketing mind.
Ready? Are you sure?
Set.
Here it comes. Swing, baby.
Welcome back to the second show. The first show, of course, was Bob having his own show all by himself. So it's great for you. It's stupid. Shooby-dooby-dooby Bob.
Stick that at the end.
We'll see what I can do. Okay, here we go again. Give me a yeehaw. No, wait a minute. She's not country anymore, is she? We're here with, gee whiz, I cannot get this right today at all. Okay, let's try a third one. Here we go. Hey there. How you doing? This is my third attempt at doing an intro to the show, so I'm not going to do anything crazy, silly, or creative. I'm just going to let you know that this is Billy Gryzak, the Music Marketing Mind, and that fella over there that was having a wonderful conversation all by himself is
Bob Baker, Mr. Buzz Factor. Yeah, I really don't need anyone else to have just a great old time. We have a great conversation. If somebody joins me, great. If not, I'll just continue my own dialogue.
Well, I've come to the conclusion the only reason you actually have me here is to make sure you actually record a podcast every week.
It is because it's something. Yeah, it forces me to meet a deadline of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah, because let's get real, Bob. How many shows did you actually do in the many years before we started? What was the total again?
Well, I did. I think my Artist Empowerment Radio did it get into the 80s or 70s? Something like that. And I did do actually 60 episodes of The Creative Entrepreneur, which is another podcast that I did. And we're on 41 now. But I think, this is definitely a record as far as, that those were like spread out over a lot more, many weeks and months.
And years.
Than this. Yes, and years in some cases. So this is the first time I've really committed to a weekly schedule with a podcast. So I thank you for that, sir.
And I thank you for the whole accountability thing, which I actually learned from attending your workshops, which, by the way, when the heck are you going to start doing workshops again, Bob?
I don't know.
See, I'm just putting you on the hot seat all over the place, man. That's what you get for doing the show without me for the first minute of the show, okay?
Yeah. I'm hoping to do more live workshops in 2015, but I don't know about the virtual ones. We'll have to see about that. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's kind of an unlikely topic for us because normally we're catering to independent musicians. We don't really reference a whole lot of big name stars. But I thought that, in fact, I recommended that we do this because I think it's relevant.
I think it's relevant too, Bob. It says here.
Thank you for reading the script.
Page 2.
We do an amazing job of making this sound like it's off the cuff, but you actually are reading from a script that I provide for you. I think we should just let everybody know that now.
Yes, Bob. It is a real pleasure to work with a genius of your talent.
Oh, thank you, Billy. I am really thankful and appreciative of your compliments. All right, let's keep
moving on. Anyway,
let's keep going. Yes.
So today, man, we are talking about Taylor Swift.
That's right, and her new album just came out. I guess it's called 1989, which is actually a year. Was that the year she was born? Is that why it was named that? I'm not quite sure. Because I think she's like 20. You just had a birthday. She turned 24 or something like that. So maybe that's her. That's the year that she was born. But it was the year I was already out of high school at that point. But for about a dozen years.
Don't worry, folks. At some point, the show will have absolute wonderful value for your music career. It's coming, I promise.
But here's the thing. So Taylor Swift was one of the few artists, I think, over the past decade who was able to sell 1 million units in the first week that it was on sale. And I think her last, like, however many 3 albums did that. And I could have swore that one source that I read online said the last time that happened from any other artist was like Eminem in like 2002. So this is pretty impressive considering all the sad news that we hear about the music industry. But I know a lot of our listeners are going, well, why are you talking about pop stars and, you know, these chart toppers and people like Taylor Swift, and people might be going, oh, she's just some, you know, little teeny bopper or whatever. But I think she has proven to be a very smart and savvy marketer. She's very savvy with her brand. While I'm sure she has a team, you know, I've heard stories that her dad or her parents, whatever, you know, spent a lot of money to develop her in her teens and all that stuff. But I think she's proven herself to be an artist to be reckoned with. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, right off the bat, I mean, let's do a little mini case study. And by the way, she was born December 13th, 1989.
Okay, so I was accurate with that.
You are, man. You are.
She recently had a birthday, so yeah.
Yeah, no. Now, if Katy Perry did the same thing, her album would be called 1984. But anyway, well, let's do a little quick case study. There's Rebecca Black, whose parents spent a lot of money developing and getting her a hit record. And there's Taylor Swift, who her parents got behind her and helped her also. And if you look at the two, one had a hit record and that was it. So that she was kind of like a one-trick pony, you know, but it appears that Taylor has more substance and actually has involvement and a mind of her own based on this interesting article that was posted in the Wall Street Journal of all places, where she talks about her the future of music. You had a chance to read that, right, Bob?
Yeah, and I'll try to do my best to remember to link to it in the show notes on my website at thebuzzfactor.com under the podcast tab. But yeah, I really love her attitude. She is very optimistic. I mean, certainly, you know, a lot of people, and I think I want to preface this with something that I have touched on. I can't remember if we've ever talked about it on the show, but I know a lot of times when examples like a Taylor Swift or somebody who is, you know, on the Billboard charts, is all over magazines, they're like they're obviously in a different league than most of the people that listen to the show. And when there's some musicians that when they hear people talking about success stories like that, they roll their eyes and they go, oh, either they put down her music or they say, well, yeah, but remember on our first episode, we talk about the yeah, buts, you know, your big butt.
Yeah, your big butt, man.
Yeah, well, it's good for her because, and I think when you put down or downplay other people's success, I think you do a disservice to yourself because you're saying, well, they made it because they had all these advantages or they have their, you know, XYZ, whatever it is. But why do you have to put somebody down that has been successful? Why not celebrate them and go, hey, good for them. They made it. You know, if it can happen for them, maybe there's a possibility for me too. Be inspired by them. This whole thing about putting them down and the yeah buts and you know, I don't know how it serves anyone to have that attitude. That's just me personally.
Well, the thing is, you know, everybody's indie to begin with. I mean, have we forgotten that so quickly? You know what I mean? U2 was indie when they started. You know, Taylor Swift, B.B. King, they were all independent artists, you know?
Yeah, and then actually in these articles, I did a bit of research on her in preparation for this show, and they actually, one article referred to her label as an independent label. Now, obviously, it's associated with some major label for distribution or she's linked in some way to a major label. But I think her albums come out on her own label, which is for whatever reason still considered independent, but you know, we're not going to lump her in that category.
However, though, let's take a quick look at that because everybody says, I want a record deal. I want a record deal. I want a record deal. Fine. I've got a record deal. I've got my own record label. I've got my own deal. My deal's really sweet. I get to keep 100% of my profits. It's a great deal. The thing is, it's not the record deal. It's the distribution that you need. And it's also the marketing that you need. So basically, the record deal is just basically creating a product, slapping a name on it, and making it available to the distributors. The distributors have to get it in front of people, and the marketing engine has to let people know that it's available and where it's available. This is the way it works. People think it's a record deal, it's a record label. No, the record labels are in just as much trouble as the artists are right now, trying to find the right distribution networks and the right marketing networks. So the truth of the matter is, you can do a lot of damage on your own before you need a label. And really, in my opinion, label, no, you really need distribution and marketing. Right. And she seems to be the master of this. She really does.
Yeah, and even though she's a marquee artist, she has been for a number of years. Didn't come out of the womb, being a pop star. So she had to earn her right and work her way up the ladder and all that good stuff. But but on that Wall Street Journal, I don't know if it's an op-ed or just an article or whatever that she wrote. Well, a couple of things that struck me. One was her optimism, and she also a similar message that I've been preaching for years. She actually talked quite a bit about placing value on the art that people create, and that there's value to that, and it improves people's lives, and therefore you shouldn't feel bad about being compensated for that. So she's definitely in this camp about think twice before you think you need to give all your music away. She's proven, and a lot of people back her up, that if you have a fan base that supports you, they are willing to spend money on you, and she's kind of fervent in that belief. Hello. You're eating a sandwich. That's okay. I'm sorry, I caught you in mid-chew.
I thought you were going to go on longer, man. I thought you really. Anyway,
that's okay. We definitely should keep this in the show.
So anyway.
Yeah, so no, but I applaud her for that. But one of the big things that I want to, yes, let's do that while you're chewing and digesting.
No, seriously, and the one comment that she makes that was really impressive, and it's right in the first paragraph of the story, is that the music industry is not dying; it's just coming alive. I really like that. The music business has been going through changes forever. In fact, was this something that was in the... Oh, yeah, it's actually hers. There's a wonderful infographic. Are you going to talk about this rockin' business where she talks about what the music business looked like in 2003 versus 2013? Are we going to get to that?
I wasn't planning on... Yeah, I think there's an infographic. I don't know if she supplied those images or if somebody just added them. I'm not quite sure.
Well, let's just...
But they're worth talking about. Go for it.
Yeah, let's just touch on this for a minute. The music business is always changing. I mean, if you think about it, way back before there were recordings, you had to go see the people perform. And then if you wanted to hear the songs, you had to go to a music store, and the music store didn't sell records. The music store sold sheet music back then. Okay, this is how things have changed over the years. And then the sheet music, you had to buy the sheet music, and then someone at your house had to play the songs you wanted to hear because there were no recordings of the artist. And then a little bit later on, they came out with the player pianos, where you could actually hear recorded performances on your own piano. In time, Edison Company came out, with the different type of recordings, the cylinders, and then eventually the Victrola, and it keeps moving, and the way people buy music and enjoy music keeps changing. And just 10 years ago, all of the music that was consumed was something you could hold in your hands. 94%, almost 95% of all of the music sales were on compact disc, okay? And cassettes were still being sold back then. And music videos on VHS and DVD. And now today, just 10 years later, check this out. Only 35% of the music is physical. 40% is from downloads, and 21% is from streaming, which is interesting because that's something that Taylor's not real hot on right now is the streaming thing, at least as far as the company Spotify is concerned.
Right, that was in the news a lot when she wrote an op-ed piece or something. I think in the New York Times or one of them big other big publications talking about how she's that she's not going to have her music on Spotify. Now it could have been it probably was a strategic move. I mean, the timing of all these pieces, there's no denying that it just the fact that she had a new release coming out within weeks or months after these things appeared. I'm sure those were planned. I'm not going to be naive enough to think that that wasn't part of the overall strategy.
It's worth mentioning that she had a plan and she follows the plan. I mean, the one thing I keep saying to every musician I run into is, so do you have a plan? Do you have a business plan? Do you have a marketing plan? You know, why do you give songs away? You know, I see it all the time, Bob, and I'm sure you do too. It's like, get my songs for free. A really good friend of mine yesterday came up to me and he went down to Chicago and made this beautiful recording of himself playing piano so he could give all the copies away. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, you know, that's what people do. You know what I mean? They give music away. Why do they give music away?